He was once one of tennis's rising superstars ready to take over, but then injuries and mental issues plagued Dominic and his career. But fans all around the world want to know, just how good was Prime Thiem actually? Let me give you a hint, probably better than you remember. Dominic Thiem, born in 1993 in Austria to Wolfgang and Karen Thiem, was introduced to tennis from a very young age since both his parents were tennis coaches at that time. He started playing tennis at 6 years old, had a very successful junior career, made it to the ATP Tour, and the rest is history. Did anyone think he'd be a great player one day? After a stunning junior career, Dominic transitioned into the pro player circuit. However, the same results could not be replicated right away as he struggled to find his groove. He recorded his first ATP win in his home country of Austria in 2011 over a compatriot and former world number 1 Thomas Muster. This was a sign of great things to come. Thiem advanced in the ATP rankings, breaking into the top 100 for the first time in his career. This was a crucial turning point in his career because it signaled his shift from the lower ranks to playing against higher-ranked opponents. In addition, in 2014, he made his first ATP Tour final at the Austrian Open Kitzbühel. Although he did not win the championship, reaching the final was a notable feat that demonstrated his potential as a rising talent. Last and definitely not least, in 2014, he made his Grand Slam main draw debut. He took part in all 4 major championships, including the Australian Open, French Open, Wimbledon, and US Open. While he did not make deep runs, these encounters exposed him to elite-level competition. In the following year of 2015, Dominic just kept improving, and the results were the testament to his efforts. Thiem had a fantastic season and rose significantly in the ATP rankings. He broke into the top 20 for the first time in his career, confirming his place among the tour's finest players. He'd won a total of 3 titles that year, which was a giant step forward. He advanced in Grand Slam competitions, most notably in the French Open. At Roland Garros, he advanced to the second round, his greatest performance in a major tournament to that moment. This demonstrated his growing comfort on clay courts, which would eventually become his favoured surface. In 2015, Thiem won major victories over top-ranked opponents. He defeated established players like Stan Wawrinka, Joe Wilfried Tsonga, and David Ferrer, demonstrating his ability to compete and defeat them. There seemed to be no stopping his rise towards the top, don't you think? Thiem's strong performances put him into the ATP top 10 for the first time in his career. Thiem had a fantastic season in 2016 where he won 4 titles: the Buenos Aires Open, the Acapulco Open, the Nice Open, and the Stuttgart Open. These victories cemented his status as a top contender and established his ability to compete at the highest level. Dominic Thiem had yet another fantastic year in 2017. He remained in the top 10, won many ATP Tour championships, made deep runs in Grand Slam tournaments, reached a Masters 1000 final, and constantly performed well throughout the season. Thiem had another superb season, winning 3 ATP Tour titles. He won the Argentina Open, the Lyon Open, and the St. Petersburg Open, demonstrating his ability on clay and hard courts. He reached his first Grand Slam final at the French Open in 2018. He had a great run, defeating strong players including Alexander Zverev and Marco Cecchinato along the way. Although he lost to Rafael Nadal in the final, his performance underlined his ability to compete at the highest level on clay. Additionally, he qualified for the first time in his career for the prestigious ATP World Tour Finals. Despite not progressing beyond the round-robin stage, his qualification for the year-end event was a noteworthy accomplishment. These accomplishments cemented Thiem's place as one of the top men's players and laid the groundwork for even greater success in the coming years. And those exact years that were to come between 2018 and 21 were the prime years of Dominic Thiem. But before we get into it, let's see what it is that he had that solidified him as a serious threat to the top players on tour. You must be asking yourself, just how was he able to be so dominant during his best years on the tour? So here is your answer. Thiem excels as an aggressive baseline player who can play both offense and defense. His ground strokes are strong on both wings, with a heavy forehand and a sturdy, devastating single-handed backhand. Notably, Thiem stands out among younger ATP players by using a single-handed backhand, which he adopted after consulting with his coach. This modification has proven useful, especially when dealing with high-bouncing balls, which can be difficult for traditional single-handers. Thiem usually plays strong, penetrating ground strokes with significant spin to build points and outlast opponents. He uses a purposeful take-back on both wings to generate topspin, effectively preparing him for attacking and defensive moves. Thiem also has a powerful serve that may reach speeds of up to 145 miles per hour. He gains important time preparing for thorough swings on his returns by positioning himself farther behind the baseline during return serves. Furthermore, Thiem has made significant progress in honing his slice backhand, realizing its importance, particularly on low-bouncing hard courts. Now that we understand the fundamental of Thiem's game, let's dive a little deeper into what he's achieved in his prime. Thiem has a powerful forehand, which is one of his most deadly weapons on the field. His forehand is distinguished by its strength, powerful topspin, and precision. Thiem creates a lot of racket head speed, which allows him to hit the ball hard and deliver spectacular winners. Thiem executes his forehand with a strong takeback, filling up his swing to produce maximum bounce, high, and kick off the surface, making his opponents' lives difficult. Additionally, Thiem's forehand is very versatile, allowing him to control the game from the baseline or finish at the net. He frequently uses his forehand to hit winners down the line or across the court, taking advantage of his opponent's flaws and putting them into defensive situations. Also, it is well known for its dependability and consistency. He can play his forehand at a high level throughout long rallies, tiring down his opponents and forcing errors. Thiem's forehand's ability to generate both power and spin makes it a major weapon in his arsenal and an important component of his playing style. Thiem's backhand is a key component of his game, demonstrating his skill and mobility on the court. He uses a single-handed backhand, which distinguishes him from many of the ATP circuit colleagues. He switched from a two-handed backhand during his junior years because his coach suggested. His coach at the time noticed that he could utilize a single-handed backhand to manage high balls much easier. Despite not having the greatest results with it in the beginning, he stuck to it and made it work. Dominic's backhand is recognized for its power and beauty. He has exceptional technique and timing, which enables him to generate significant speed and precision with his shots. His backhand has a fluid action and a clean swing, allowing him to hit winners from a variety of places on the court. In addition to this, his ability to successfully handle high-bouncing balls is remarkable. When challenged with difficult shots, he demonstrates excellent control and steadiness, frequently generating clean and well-placed returns. This ability distinguishes him, as many players with single-handed backhands struggle with high balls. It simply enables him to generate shots and counterattacks with pinpoint accuracy. He has the ability to redirect the ball with depth and accuracy, negating opponents' shots and converting defense into offense. Top spin on his backhand shots allows him to maintain consistency and control throughout rallies. Overall, Thiem's backhand is an important weapon in his armory, complementing his strong forehand and aiding to his success on the court. Don't you agree? During his climb to the top of the tennis world, Thiem made some serious improvements to his game, which enabled him to achieve some great feats. Things started off with him winning his first ATP title in Nice, France in 2015 by beating Mayer in the final. After winning a few more titles along the way, the first signs of Dominic's prime started to show in 2017 when he reached the finals of an ATP Masters 1000 in Madrid, as well as book the number 4 spot in the world. But the true potential of Dominic Thiem was displayed from 2018 to 2021, and there were a couple of legendary performances that helped solidify his greatness. The match that took place in May of 2018 in sunny Madrid. Thiem, famed for his clay court skills, faced Nadal, the reigning clay court king and multiple-time Madrid Open champion, in this highly anticipated quarterfinal showdown. The game turned out to be a tight and fiercely fought struggle. Thiem pushed Nadal to his limits with his aggressive baseline game. He displayed his tremendous ground strokes and ability to generate winners at every opportunity, challenging the Spaniard. It was incredible to watch as young Dominic was able to overpower the king of clay with his powerful and precise shots, paired with an amazing shot selection. Thiem played great and managed to turn the first set into his favor, with the score being 7-5, and all the pressure being on Rafa to withstand it and come back. The second set started off great for Dominic, as he was able to take away Nadal's serve in the third game, and also confirm the break in his next service game. This resulted in a 3-1 lead and a great boost to his confidence. But Rafa being Rafa, he fought back to 3-3. When the incredible Austrian was able to take away his serve once again, Thiem eventually triumphed in this thrilling match, defeating Nadal in straight sets. The final score was 7-5, 6-3 in Thiem's favor. Thiem's victory was notable since he became the first player to beat Nadal on clay that year and break his incredible streak. Thiem's quarterfinal triumph over Nadal at the Madrid Open 2018 demonstrated his skill, determination, and ability to battle with the best players on clay. It was a watershed event in his career, solidifying his status as a top-tier player on the surface. He went on to reach the finals before losing a tough match against Alexander Zverev. The 2019 ATP Finals were highlighted by an exciting match between Novak Djokovic and Dominic Thiem. The match took place during the group stage of the competition, which doesn't make it any less credible. The match started off incredibly for Thiem, with him displaying his finest abilities. But as we all know, Djokovic isn't going down without a fight. The score in the first set was tied up all the way until the tiebreak, when Novak was able to pull through with a 7-6 score. As the match continued, both players kept on performing on the highest level, but Thiem's game was just too much to handle for Novak. Dominic won the second set 6-3, and he just carried that energy straight into the third set as well. The third set was a very thrilling battle that led to a deciding tiebreak. Thiem managed to clutch it with some amazing winners and stunning footwork. The final score was 7-6, 6-3, 7-6. for the young Austrian, earning him a spot in the Nitto ATP Finals semi-final. Thiem went on to reach the finals, but ultimately lost to Stefanos Tsitsipas in an incredibly close match. The final match of the 2019 Barcelona Open featured Dominic Thiem and Rafael Nadal. Dominic Thiem, the world number 5 tennis player at that moment, played Rafael Nadal, the world number 2 tennis icon from Spain. Nadal has a fantastic record at the Barcelona Open, having won it multiple times before. The final between Thiem and Nadal was a highly competitive and heated match. Throughout the match, both players have shown outstanding clay court abilities and fighting spirit. Dominic Thiem made a great start, winning the first set 6-4. Thiem's aggressive style and strong ground strokes had Nadal on the defense. However, Nadal, who is known for his clay court brilliance, kept his game at an amazingly high level. But it was no match for Dominic's game that day. That match came to an end in the second set. Thiem and Nadal fought valiantly, demonstrating their shot-making talents and mental fortitude. In the end, it was Dominic Thiem who triumphed, defeating Rafael Nadal with the final score being 6-4, 6-4. Thiem's victory over Nadal in the Barcelona Open 2019 final was a great accomplishment for the Austrian star. It was his first title at that tournament, and it demonstrated his ability on clay courts. Despite the defeat, Nadal maintained his solid record at the Barcelona Open, where he has had tremendous success over the years. On March 17, 2019, the Indian Wells BNP Paribas Open 2019 final turned out to be an entertaining match. Dominic Thiem, a brilliant clay court specialist, met Roger Federer, one of tennis's finest players. The encounter featured a stylistic difference, with Thiem's muscular baseline game pitted against Federer's smooth and adaptable performance. Thiem got off to a solid start in the final, but Roger was just playing immaculately and had won the opening set 6-3. Federer, noted for his tenacity and shot-making talents, battled and continued his run in the second set. But Thiem wasn't ready to give it up. He gathered his strength and utilized his powerful shots and incredible tenacity to win the second set with a score of 6-3. The third set turned into a gripping struggle as both players demonstrated their abilities and competitive drive. Dominic Thiem eventually won the match, defeating Roger Federer 3-6, 6-3, 7-5. This triumph over Federer in the final of the Indian Wells BNP Paribas Open 2019 was a notable accomplishment in his career. It was his first Masters 1000 win, demonstrating his ability to compete on hard courts against the greatest players. The victory also highlighted Thiem's ability to compete on surfaces other than clay and established him as a formidable player in the men's game. The clash between the two clay experts occurred in November of 2020 in the Nitto ATP Finals in London. The two met in the group stage of the tournament, but the suspense was high and the match was sure to be an interesting one. As it started off, it was an intense battle with Nadal showing great defensive abilities, whilst Thiem was in the driving seat and firing on all cylinders. He managed to take away Rafa's serve in the sixth game, but Rafa fought right back. The first set went into a tiebreak, and with great mental fortitude, Dominic was able to fight off a set point and ultimately convert the set in his favor. This incredibly intense and tough battle continued into the second set. Whistling forehands, stunning backhands, and an incredible showing of pure athleticism by both players were on display that day. The second set once again went the distance into the tiebreak. Despite Rafa's best efforts, Thiem was able to use all of his advantages in his favor and ultimately won the match 7-6, 7-6. He went on to lose in the final match against Daniil Medvedev. Dominic Thiem and Alexander Zverev battled it out in the final of the US Open 2020. Dominic Thiem, world number 3 at that time, went off against Alexander Zverev, world number 7. Both players were competing for their first Grand Slam trophy, which added an extra dimension of intrigue to the final. The match ended up being a thrilling 5-set struggle. Zverev got out to a fast start, easily winning the opening 2 sets 6-2, 6-4. He appeared to be on the verge of earning his first Grand Slam title. Thiem, famed for his battling spirit and resilience, staged an incredible comeback. He started to find his stride and turned the tide in the third set, winning it 6-4. Thiem took the momentum into the fourth set, where he continued to play well and won 6-3 to force a final. The fifth set was a tough and closely contested match. Thiem and Zverev both demonstrated their abilities and tenacity as they competed for the title. Ultimately, it was Dominic Thiem who prevailed, winning the set 7-6. Thiem won his maiden Grand Slam title with this victory, becoming the first player born in the 1990s to do so. The duel between Thiem and Zverev in the US Open 2020 final will be remembered as an exciting and hard-fought battle that showcased both players' talent and tenacity. This was a monumental crown to Dominic's career, as he had accomplished the sole thing he had been training for since he started tennis, winning a Grand Slam. Not many players can boast a winning record against any player from the Big Three, but Dominic is one of them. Thiem's head-to-head score with the Big Three is a very good showing of how great he actually was in his prime. The Swiss maestro Roger Federer, despite all of his monumental achievements, doesn't have a winning record against Thiem. Indeed, Dominic has a 5-2 score against Roger, which is a 71% win rate against one of the greatest of all time. Isn't that just crazy? With a 5-7 score against the most complete player of all time, Novak Djokovic, Thiem can be more than happy to have a 43% win rate against one of the GOATs notes of tennis. A very similar story is with the king of clay, Rafael Nadal. Dominic's got a 40% win rate from the total of 15 matches that they've played. An important mention is that most of their matches took place on clay courts, making it even more notable. Unfortunately for Thiem, a serious wrist injury in 2021 kept him out of the game for quite some time. In combination with that, he's been dealing with maintaining his focus and desire to win ever since he won that US Open. What the future holds, we do not know, but we would definitely love to see the beast that Dominic Thiem once was again. Wouldn't you? If you're wondering what happened to Thiem, check out this video and find out more about his tragic downfall.